Thank you for tuning in to the Student Organization Summit. Make sure to follow us on social media and check out the many other videos on this channel about working with and advising student organizations. And now, please enjoy your workshop.
Hello, my name is Jen. I use she, hers pronouns, and I'm the Club Activities Manager at Western Washington University. My main focus is to advise, train, and support our roughly 200 clubs on campus and supervise 4 student staff who help with this mission. Our clubs are not required to have advisors, so I am their main go-to person, especially to assist with our policies and procedures. Western is located in beautiful Bellingham on the Bellingham Bay, which is about 20 miles south of the Canadian border, and we have about 16,000 students, mostly undergraduate, on our campus. Clubs across campus include those that I support, our 19 ethnic student center clubs, 24 sport clubs out of our recreation center, and a smattering of academic and departmentally supported clubs, such as the debate team, student journalism, and pep band. In the summer of 2018, we officially migrated from OrgSync to Engage, and we rebranded this to the Western Involvement Network, or WIN. When we used OrgSync, it was really just for our clubs to help manage themselves, and some of our associated student program offices used it for forms and calendar submissions. With the migration, it was our intention to broaden the use to be across campus and become the main engagement hub for campus, which we have slowly accomplished, and the effort is continuously growing. We currently have several frozen organizations, mainly due to COVID. I'd like now to describe our events process, and when I refer to an org, I'm referencing the clubs that I manage specifically, as described earlier, as well as the clubs in the Ethnic Student Center, who my counterpart, Moya, advises. Because it is such a large collection of clubs, and many operate fairly independently, it was important for us to have a structured process since we are at such a long arm's reach from their planning processes. So step 1 is that the org starts planning the basic details of their event. Ideally, this is months away from their event, which may include anything from a basic fundraiser to a major speaker or concert. This may or may not include our office at this point, but we ask that they start gathering those basic details. At this point, we also encourage them to submit a request to our Publicity Center for design work on posters, banners, and digital media. Because this can take up to 6 weeks as well, overlapping the process is important. Step 2 is that they make their reservations in EMS. This ensures that they have the space reserved and is after they know basic things like when the event is planned for, how big of an audience they expect, and what the room setup might look like. Based on the event, they will meet with the event services team later to solidify details. Once they know the basics and have the space reserved, they submit the event planning checklist form in WIN, which is what I will go into detail next. The form is then reviewed by my student staff and communication begins. They'll ask more questions, answer questions org has, draw out more details, and help with ideas. Make sure they are submitting additional forms they may need and send the form to me if there are things I need to know, such as contracts and additional approvals. Communication is typically done right in the form using the comments feature, or they might need help with them in person. If plans change, we can also edit the form to reflect those changes as needed. Once the form is ready, it is approved and shared with our event services staff through Microsoft Teams as a PDF, so they can help the club with details they need, such as equipment, security staffing, cash boxes, etc. They will then also confirm the event in EMS now that they know the event is ready to go. The final step is to submit their event request in WIN so that it goes on the calendar. Before approving event requests, we make sure the checklist form was submitted and finalized and a space reservation is confirmed. Okay, now let's dig into the form. As you can see, the form is 21 pages long, which sounds really daunting. But the first few pages collect basic details, and the rest of the form is based on the checkboxes they mark on pages 2 and 3. So they may only see 5 of these pages when it's submitted. So page 1 lays out the event planning steps I described before with a little bit more description and language for the average student event planner. I'll pause here for a bit to allow you time to read. There is reference to advisors, which is mainly myself and my counterpart Moya, but leaves open the option for this to be used by other program offices who also have advisors. It also allows the opportunity to pull in club advisors that are not normally part of this process. You'll see that the final step includes documenting the process for future leaders. Page 2 collects basic details of the event using text entry. We like collecting a brief description and purpose, which helps us brainstorm ideas in addition to what they share in the form. Many first-time event planners don't know what they don't know, so we might suggest grander ideas or alternative methods based on our experiences. Page 3 gives us a lot of information, including what type of event they're hosting, what elements are associated, and what resources are needed. The first two sections, type and element, are mostly what we use to build the rest of the form, and the resources are mostly informative to get them ready for the meeting with event services. The following pages provide either more information, links to additional campus forms, and/or ask the org for more information. For example, if they check that it is an outdoor event, then we provide information about the complexities of that type of event and next steps. If they indicated there will be a paid performer or speaker, we collect information needed to create a contract. Or if they marked that they'll need funding, we know to look for that funding request form and follow up if we don't see that. The last page collects additional information so we may connect with the appropriate person. We know that the contact information in our system, such as phone numbers or email addresses, are not always the preferred method, and the way to connect with them changes per individual. Also, the person submitting forms isn't always the most available or the most knowledgeable about the event, so we ask if there's a secondary contact. We also provide a link to our AS Event Accessibility Checklist as an additional resource in the next steps. Also on this final page is an event timeline tool, which is an Excel spreadsheet we borrowed from the internet and made custom for our processes. You can take a closer look at this later by accessing these slides from the YouTube video, but I can show you an example now. If you put a future date into this box, you'll see that it adjusts the visual calendar for planning, as well as a list of event phases and milestones to help you stay on track. Well, we ask the org to save this and upload to the form for us to reference as we help them, as well as indicate if they are on track, or if they need some help finalizing details because they are behind. Now that you've seen a bit about the checklist form and have heard our processes, I'll close this presentation with a bit about what we like most. It is definitely a helpful tool in providing students with some structure to event planning, and at times stirs up new ideas. For example, a club might not have thought of to hold a raffle at their event, but by clicking the box and seeing the page with information about that, they realized that this was something they could manage and raise money for themselves. We also like to see more details about what clubs are planning, so when our event services team asks us about the event, we can easily explain and answer questions. And if they haven't submitted this form yet, but have made a space reservation, the reservations team will ask the club to submit it, and they will not move forward with the reservation. There are rarely surprises that show up on our events request submissions because we are already aware of what events are being planned. Using the forms feature is nice because we as reviewers and approvers can edit the form and communicate with event planners using the comment section. It's also handy to be able to download the PDF submission and share with those like event services who are not using WIN to manage events. Also, using that PDF to store in the club document files is a convenient reference for the club and for us. Thank you, everyone. Again, my name is Jen, and you are welcome to email me with any questions at cookj22@wwu.edu.
Thanks for tuning in to the Student Organization Summit. If you're watching this live, feel free to reference the schedule for the day and use the link in the schedule to access a Q&A room where you can ask questions or chat with the presenters from this workshop. If they didn't list a Q&A link, or you're watching this video after the event, thank you for your interest in the Student Organization Summit.